Our region's business is sponsored by PNC Bank, solutions that help you achieve your goals in life. PNC, leading the way. And by Heffron Tillotson, a history of meticulous wealth management since 1948. Our region's business, innovation, transformation, momentum, improving our communities and driving technologies that will shape our region for generations. The collaboration that brings vitality, prosperity, and life to living. Stay with us for the coming half hour as we examine in depth our region's business. Now, here's your host, Bill Flanagan.
Today on Our Region's Business, girls going places by learning to be entrepreneurs, and a husband-wife success story, the creators of modcloth.com. But first, the ongoing recession may have eased demand for talent across many industries, but once the economy begins to recover, the skills gap is going to become an issue for many employers all over again. The bottom line, employers can collect plenty of resumes, but where do they find quality workers with the skills they really need? Well, our region's charter schools may provide at least part of the longer-term solution for that challenge, and two of them recently turned up near the top of a national ranking of charter schools. Jeremy Resnick is founder and executive director of Propel Schools, and Rick Wertheimer is executive director of City Charter High School in Pittsburgh. And welcome. Good to see both of you.
Thank you.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess what, in your space, in your charter school world, turning up on this list is a pretty big deal.
Well, it's always great to get recognition. We have so many people working so hard and doing great things with kids, and to have that outside recognition is a great thing.
You both founded around the same time, you at more the elementary school, middle grades level, right, and City Charter as a high school. Probably for those folks who are not familiar with charter schools, we should probably define right out of the gate, what exactly is a charter school?
Well, certainly the first thing you should say, it's a public school funded through the public. It's free and open to the public. I think what makes it different, it's very entrepreneurial. So we applied for a charter from a school district. We had a plan, a strategic plan. They approved that plan for a 5-year charter. And then we are a separate independent entity, 501c3. We have our own board of trustees. And we are an entrepreneurial organization that works very hard to educate children.
Okay, and your charter would be from the city of Pittsburgh schools,
Our
right?
charter is from the city, yes.
You have an even bigger challenge because you're operating in multiple school districts.
That's right. We have a charter from the McKeesport Area School District, a charter from the Steel Valley School District, one from the Woodland Hills District, one from the Montour School District.
Okay, so we understand your legal structure a little bit, but what do you really bring to the table when it comes to educating kids?
Well, we bring an organization that's got a long-term view of what it takes to provide good schools, which is great teachers, and that requires a kind of sustained professional development. We have a longer school year for children, but we also have a longer school year for adults. So we have lots of extra time to work with our staff. We have a focus on relationships. We believe that you can push kids really hard, and we do that, but you have to know the kids and they have to trust you before you can push them hard.
And for City Charter, sort of what's your philosophy?
Well, I would suggest the philosophy is very similar. Certainly high academic standards for students, the good faculty, the excellent faculty. But I would also suggest that, I'm going to come back to that entrepreneurial idea. We are responsible for this education. So the concept of obtaining best practices, looking at the field, seeing what works, if something doesn't work, being able to adjust quickly, being able to be data-driven and not have that whole legacy of 100 years of history of the way we used to do it. We don't have that. So we are what we like to think an efficient organization that meets the needs of our children.
I was involved in a career education organization a number of years ago, and we had superintendents and business people on the board, and at one meeting, you know, one of the superintendents says, well, you know, it takes 30 years to change the schools. And the businessman across the table says, I don't have that kind of time. And, you know, it is a challenge. How do we make the school system responsive to what really are the needs of the kids, but also of the community and the economy?
Well, we're schools of choice, and one of the great things that we're learning is that parents are really looking for quality choices. Propel Schools, we're here because we want to provide choices to families that wouldn't otherwise have them. That's why we're in the Mon Valley. That's why we are trying to get into communities where there are a lot of families that wouldn't be able to afford a private school, that would like to be in a public school, but would like to be in a public school that meets this particular need of their children. And they're lining up. We have a waiting list of over 1,000 kids around our schools, and I think that that's a good sign for our area. I mean, we have families that are really pushing hard for their kids, and I think that speaks well for what we might see 10 years from now.
Well, and I guess the other piece is great to be in demand, but are you delivering results? You guys have been at it now 5, 6, 7 years. Do you have the metrics? Do you know you're really making a difference for these kids?
Well, I'm proud to say we do. Depending upon how you measure it, we're succeeding at various different ways. Certainly PSSA scores, numerous awards from the state that we are achieving at a very high level. This particular award that we just won from the group called New Leaders for New Schools, the EPIC Award, out of 144 schools that submitted to them as being self-selected as saying we are high-achieving schools, 21 were selected. 2 from Pittsburgh, which is really quite a coup for Pittsburgh. This was measured based, the metric was that they looked at our students and looked at their growth. So it was basically a value-added measure. Did your kids grow based upon what you've done at the school? And our numbers were wonderful. So I think by just about any measure, a fiscal measure, a graduation rate measure, a university measure at our high school, we're doing a good job. There's always room for improvement, but I think the accountability issue is really key. We are accountable for this. If we don't do it, our students won't come to us, and if our students don't come to us, we will be out of business.
Jeremy, from Propel's perspective?
Yeah, we're seeing great results. The McKeesport School that was recognized with this EPIC Award, 90% of the kids there are on free and reduced lunch, meaning that they're coming from families that are really struggling with the challenges of poverty. And yet, in the 5th grade group, only one other school in Allegheny County, I believe a school in Fox Chapel, had a higher percentage of 5th graders proficient on the state tests in math. So, I mean, that's the kind of, we're aspiring to have the kind of schools that have sort of affluent suburban results with students that are not from affluent suburbs.
Wow, it's a tremendous story. Jeremy Resnick from Propel Schools, Rick Wertheimer from City Charter. Congratulations to both of you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Coming up next, girls going places. They're the next generation of entrepreneurs, and they've hit the ground running. Stay with us.